It's an amusement park. I paid nothing to get in. I would give anything to get out. Every day I wake up, I'm still in this amusement park. Every ride is a med. Every ride is a chance. Every new ride I try is a chance that some part of me might feel better, some functioning might improve, some symptom might get some relief. Every ride, every med is more than likely gonna do nothing for me. Over time, over some period of time, I'll probably feel worse and then abandon the ride. Let go of the med. Gather my strength again and think about the next ride to try, the next med to try. Meds, two that worked, and two of the many, many tens of meds I've tried that didn't work. First med, levetiracetam. So fun to say, levetiracetam. I'm sorry, I'd like to, but they don't have a reservation. Levetiracetam, the generic name for Keppra. This drug is an anti-epileptic drug for folks with seizure disorders. A tiny study was done on 25 actual PLS patients in America, done at Duke, and they tried this drug. No idea why they tried it, what the theory was for why it would work, but across the board it improved quality of life. I show this study to my neurologist, and she knows the guy who ran the study. This is a low risk drug. It's worth trying it. Let's see if you can tolerate it. Let's see how it works. Now, we've been told in advance this ride will suck for the first 3 months. I'm gonna feel epic fatigue as I slowly increase the dose, but my body will acclimate to it. There are many folks in my group who have been on this ride, who were on this drug. There's an entire group of people who have PLS who are on this levetiracetam ride. And I have more information than I usually have about a chance for this to help. As promised, this ride is so exhausting for 3 months. I started the first dose. I can barely walk during the day. I'm so tired. I eventually start to feel more normal. I increase the dose. Same effect again. I feel more normal. I get up to the max dose. It's working and I acclimate 3 months in. It improves my balance. When I become unsteady, I notice a difference. I'm able to catch myself, to right myself so many more times than I was before this. It also helps with muscle spasms at night. Huge, huge win. Oh, by the way, once you're on this ride, once you've gone through all that to get on this meds ride, you can't get off. If you get off, you go through the shit all over again. I moved a year ago. I'd been on this med for nearly a year. There was a screw up in the pharmacy. Long story, partially my fault, and super the fault of the pharmacist who said, "No, I'm not gonna give you an emergency few extra days of this while we wait for approval for your neuro to rewrite it." It was a holiday weekend. I'm sure this chain pharmacy appreciates the legal jeopardy this person put them in. I was rationing down the pills. I ended up with 2 days completely off of it. Once I got back on, I go through the exhaustion again. This time it's like 2, 3 weeks. I will never get off this ride again. That was terrible. I'm on this ride. Levitiracetam, thank you so much. That one worked. I mean, who wants to hear about drugs? Who wants to hear about what medicines are like for somebody? This must feel so boring to listen to. I'm telling you though, it is a nightmare of a ride for me each time I try a med. The stakes just couldn't be higher. This pill, this new pill I'm taking, could mess up my life for a couple months and help me, or it could make me worse until I stop it. The best case scenario is it reduces some symptom a little bit. However, this next med, the best case scenario was it would have completely whacked the mole and knocked it down, not just halfway, but down and out. The symptom is PBA, pseudobulbar affect. It's the thing I've told you about where I laugh and cry kind of uncontrollably sometimes, and it's hard to pick a least favorite, but boy, I freaking hate this. It makes me crazy. This drug is actually indicated to treat this symptom, pseudobulbar affect, and some people at speech improvement. Holy shit, let's try it. It's called Nudexa, and insurance approves it. That's a win. I'm so excited. The data is 50% of people it works, 50% it doesn't. Let's try it. Boy, it did not work. I failed right away within 48 hours. The spasticity in my legs so intense I could barely walk. It was like someone had taken a 1x4 board and tied it to the back of my legs. It felt like walking on stilts. It was insane. Had to stop it. I wanted this to work so bad. I tried this ride 2 more times, 3 times total. I waited 6 months. Sometimes a patient progresses, the med works differently. Second attempt, exactly the same fail. Then I doing some research and find out this increased spasticity could be an allergic reaction. There are three things I'm on at this point that are elective that seem to help a little bit with some symptoms, but going off of them won't be hard. I slowly wean off of three different drugs to give this new Dexter ride one more try, fail again, exact same response. The blessing here was only 48 hours and I knew, oh shit, not working, oh well. The stakes just couldn't be higher. Every new med, every new ride I decide to get on. So many rides were to try to help with mood support. I failed on 7 different antidepressants in different classes, old school, new school. They made me feel tired. A couple of them made me feel sadder than I've ever felt. Scary sad. A psychiatrist at the clinic said, I don't think you have major depressive disorder. I think you have adjustment disorder. It's reasonable. This is a terrible circumstance. All I can recommend is talk therapy and meditation. I so wanted a ride, a single med I could go on so I would just feel better and be less upset about this. I never wanted to take a medication as strong as any of those. I was always such a hippie about medication, just ibuprofen, Tylenol to manage low back pain or pain after a running injury. Here I am trying all these really strong drugs. None of those worked. This ride also didn't work. The promise was so great. If it could deliver, worth the cost. And the cost is dear. The cost is you have to be on this drug for 6 to 8 weeks, full dose, to know if it's gonna work. The new Dexa, 2 days, I knew shit's not gonna work. Stop it. This drug called dalfempridine and I are going to the ball together. Dalfempridine, brand name Ampera. This drug is, of course, not indicated for PLS. It's indicated for MS, and it's called the miracle walking drug. Life changing for a ton of people with MS. My neuro had found some success with a couple patients, not PLS patients, but HSP, which is a similar disease. It presents with some similar symptoms, and I read about it, found a few people in my group for whom it worked. This has not been studied on PLS. At this point, the benefits seem worth the cost. I'm on the ride. Shit, this drug was hard. These side effects were not bad enough to stop, but they were uncomfortable. It was this tension. It started almost immediately from the sides of my head, down my jaw, and into my neck. So, like this band of tension on both sides. I would wake up in such discomfort, my jaw aching from the muscles being wrenched so tight. It disrupted my sleep. It was an extended release. So at 4 a.m. every night, then the med would release into my body and I would be wide awake and it would take me an hour to get back to sleep. But look, if I stay on this ride, if I stay on it for 6 to 8 weeks, I could suddenly be able to walk so much better. It's worth it. I'm fucking staying on this stuff. And I do. I lasted out. Another side effect. We've all taken meds they say can be hard on your stomach. They said that about this. This was different. This was you're going to vomit blood hard on your stomach. That was deeply upsetting. I hope you never have to experience it. If you do, I found out take 2 Tums with the pillar just before and it stops that from happening, which I was very interested in. And I also would experience sudden jolts of pain that would startle me as I was walking in various spots in my legs. Very dangerous for me to have a startle while walking. I last this out. It's worth it to stay on the ride. I get through 10 weeks of being on the drug, 8 at full dose, no benefit whatsoever. This drug did not work. It was really hard. This was the last ride I thought would do any good. And after this, my neuro and I decided the more extreme step that I'd been avoiding for a couple years was the only thing left to try. And it involves this next medication. Um, I currently take this through orally in pills, and I'll tell you later about the next step with this drug. All baclofen. I remember the first time I went on your ride. It was neuro number 3. It was early days. He said, look, I know you don't want to take anything, but a lot of people with stiffness or spasticity get relief from this. Let me just give you a subclinical dose to see how you tolerate it. That means lower than the lowest dose you would take if you were using it to treat a patient. 2.5 milligrams. I take this drug initially, spontaneous, epic, Game of Thrones nosebleeds, and sudden onset exhaustion. I would be fine and suddenly feel like, whoa, man, I gotta lie down. Oh, I'm gonna fall asleep now. I had such a strong response, like, oh man, I can't be on this shit. That was 3 years ago. Over the next year, as I get worse, I try and fail on 7 other muscle relaxants. For the symptom of spasticity, the only ride you can go on is a muscle relaxant ride. Nothing cures spasticity, nothing cures PLS. It's just a game of trying to manage symptoms with different rides in the amusement park, different meds. I fail on 7 other muscle relaxants and baclofen, I came back to you. I remember when I got on your ride again. It was over a year later. I was so much worse. Spasticity was totally changing the way I looked and walked and felt every day. And it was really the main drug, one of two main muscle relaxants everyone with PLS took, and baclofen. I got on your ride and you worked, and I acclimated to the fatigue that comes with you, and you actually make me feel better. There's a catch though, baclofen. I take you orally and there's a short half-life, so I take you twice a day. I feel you kick in, I feel you wear off, I feel a little fatigue from you midday, and I wake up with you at the lowest point in my cycle of 24 hours. So I have muscle spasms and walk terribly until that first dose kicks in. So of course there's tricks to your ride, but I'm sticking with you. You work. Baclofen. I have a feeling you and I are gonna be spending a lot of time together, I think for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met you. You don't make me better, but you make me a little less worse, and I'm glad to be on your ride.